Good evening and welcome to Newsview from Newgrange, County Meath at the bend of the Bóinne. I'm talking to you from this decorated stone which guards the entrance to a tomb which dates back to 2000 years before Christ. But if the tomb dates 2000 BC, the story is right up to date because for the past few weeks a team of archaeologists under Professor Michael O'Kelly of University College Cork have been working here, and they have made some very important discoveries about this tomb which is regarded as one of the finest of its kind in Western Europe. This mound at Newgrange is only one of a series of Bronze Age tumuli along the riverbanks south of Mellifont Abbey. Bóinne is the name given to this group of remarkable pre-Christian cemeteries. Three of them are especially conspicuous by their size and importance, those of Newgrange, Knowth and Dowth. You can see some of the smaller tumuli away there in the distance. But this mound here at Newgrange is the most important of them all. It's about 42 feet high and 280 feet in diameter, and it's surrounded by the remnants of a stone circle. The entrance passage, which you saw earlier, is 62 feet long and leads to the burial chamber, which probably contained the cremated remains. But as the mound was plundered by the Danes in the 9th century, there are lots of stories about just who was buried there. And here's a woman who has lots of stories to tell, if only she had time to tell them. She is Mrs. Hickey. 2 weeks ago she celebrated her 90th birthday, and for 60 of those years she was caretaker of the mound. Mrs. Hickey, what did the old people think of the mound?
A place for fairies, and you dream about them.
Were they afraid of them?
Terrified. Oh, terrified.
Used to come here to the mound at all?
Very, very few. And if anyone was seen walking around it at night, what's going to happen? Something going to happen to us?
I believe they had some customs connected with the mound here.
Yes, but there were old customs. They were very fond of goats, and they loved to drink goat's milk. Anybody that was going to die had to drink a cup of goat's milk to get well.
You used to find the goats up here?
Yes. Wild goats, you know.
I believe sometimes they used to walk around the stones here.
Well, that wasn't natural. They were bound to do that. Sort of the ceremony.
What kind of a ceremony was it?
Oh, religious.
A religious ceremony?
Yes, religious. That was their religious ceremony. They always spoke around to the fairies.
I believe there was some white lady connected with this mound here too.
Yes, there was. A beautiful white lady.
Did you ever see her yourself?
Well, I only told you about what I seen. With a blue apron on her. Well, she was something blue, and I thought it was an apron. And I was so sure it was a friend of mine. I was very vexed. And she disappeared so quick without getting a chat with her.
Where did you see her?
Oh, down at our house. But the stone, this big stone that I told you about, it's down at our house. And the people all connected with it used to go around there to that stone.
And this was at night time?
No.
In the daytime?
In the daytime.
And what was she doing?
Beg your pardon?
What was she doing?
Walking down to meet me, coming to meet me, evidently, in great form. But I was so disappointed with her not coming to shake hands with me.
What happened? Did she disappear?
She disappeared so quick I didn't think I was going over to shake hands with her. And I put my foot down to cross the little cut. And when I looked again, she was gone. Oh, I said, you were awfully cross.
So much for the fairies. Science and progress marches on. And to find out what's happening here at the mound now, we spoke to Professor O'Kelly. First of all, Professor, how did this great big stone and so many of them get up here?
Well, we think that many of these big stones were lying about on the land surface since the end of the Ice Age. And it's a question then for these people who built this tomb to move them into the desired place. And here they erected a circle of 35 of these big stones.
How did you come to start this excavation work in the first place?
Well, the monument, as you have heard, is 4,000 years old and now needs some repairs. So it was thought that the time had come when we should do some investigation around the edge of the mound before these repairs are undertaken. Hence we are here this summer.
I believe it is a big tourist attraction.
Well, very many tourists come here. Some days we have as many as 10 busfuls arriving at the monument.
I see we have quite a lot of students here right now, at least they look students to me.
Yes,
Anyway.
I believe they're a group of Italians who are studying in Dublin at the moment, who have just arrived.
And the general idea was that repairs were needed on the mound here.
Yes, and before these repairs are done, excavation has to be done outside it, so that whatever is done subsequently will be done without doing damage to the archaeological value of the tomb itself.
Who were buried here in actual fact? Were the High Kings of Ireland buried here?
Well, folklore says that the kings of Tara were buried here, but of course this monument was built 2,000 years before Tara became important as a historical monument. It's quite possible that perhaps the chieftains of this particular region were powerful enough to organize the labor necessary to build this great monument. So presumably some chieftains at any rate, it's impossible to say whether they were kings or not, were buried inside.
And now I think we'll go and have a look at some of the discoveries that have been made here. And now we're down in one of the excavation trenches. What have we here, Professor?
We have here one of the newly discovered decorated curbstones. I think you can see here this panel of zigzag or chevron ornamentation.
And what's this here, Professor?
Well, this is perhaps our most intriguing discovery. It is a mound of turves which was built here before the great cairn itself was thrown up. We have yet to decide whether this is some part of a pre-existing monument or whether it's part of the structure of the passage grave itself. We don't yet know whether the passage grave people built this mound of turves as a preliminary to the throwing up of the great cairn.
What is the significance of all these discoveries?
Well, we have added a number of new ornamented stones to the existing repertory of megalithic art, and in this turf mound here we have a quite new and intriguing problem to solve, perhaps next year when we can excavate farther into the mound.
What is the actual problem?
Well, the problem is to decide whether this turf mound is of the same date as the cairn and tomb, or whether it belongs to an earlier time.
And you feel that would be a very valuable contribution to archaeology?
Yes, this might be a very interesting matter indeed.
This, I believe, is one of the finest tombs in Western Europe.
Yes, the tomb is very widely known over Europe because it is one of the largest, one of the best preserved, one of the most highly decorated tombs of this type in Western Europe, so that people come from all over the continent to see it.
And now let's see some of the people who are working on this tomb. The heavy digging and all the hard work is done by 12 local men who work here every day from 8:30 to 6 p.m. As well as that, there are about 7 students of archaeology, many of whom who have come here from all over the world to learn the techniques of excavation. At the moment you are looking at 3 Swedish students from Uppsala University, and with them 2 Americans from Harvard. And on the extreme left we have 2 Irish girls from Cork, Helen O'Kelly and Elizabeth Murphy. And now we're right inside the tomb. At the end of this 62-foot passageway we have an opening 20 feet high with 3 recesses, and in these recesses were placed the bones of the remains. But now they're empty, there's nothing there, and nothing has been there since the Vikings plundered the tomb in the 9th century. But still, the tourists come in their thousands, and they still will continue to come. Specialists seeking knowledge, and the ordinary people just to satisfy their curiosity. It looks like they will continue to come from what we've seen here today, and perhaps in the future there will be more for them to see. But that all depends on the findings of Professor O'Kelly and his helpers here. And with that, it's good night from me in this tomb dating back to 2000 BC, and good night now from Newsview.